Welcome back. Mr. Peter Ojonegwa joins us next. He's a former IPAC chairman. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today on the program. Well, just getting the perspective of Senator INEC about the political parties, the regulations, the guidelines of INEC, how comfortable to deal with it, because I do know that the last time INEC had that meeting, parties raised concerns about all of those things. But let's get your broad perspective first of all. Conventions are going on this weekend. The APC having theirs today, tomorrow. The PDP having theirs on Sunday. ADC have theirs next month, early next month. And so events are kicking in line with the stipulations of the Electoral Act. And so what do you think of all of that?
I think it's just the internal organic process by which parties organize themselves. And that is on the fabric to which the National Assembly made attempt to try to throw rubble and disorganize it, because there are a lot of decisions that were taken by the National Assembly in this recently signed Electoral Act by the President that actually undermines the internal workings of political parties. Because political parties are supposed to be organic in nature, we serve entity respect to the power of the party to organize itself internally. But what we now have today is that the party, certain powers that have been donated to the political party from Section 223 to 2210, where they can self-regulate their own activities and manage the affairs of their party, with the organs of the parties as, established through several organs, National Convention, National Executive Meeting, you have, State Working Committee meeting, National Working Committee. So all these have been taken away, where you have the issue that, direct and consensus is only available, tool for the parties, to apply when they are trying to select their leaders. There's no problem. Parties can navigate around it. But we need to allow the National Assembly to know that the kind of approach that they are applying to regulation and over-regulating the affairs of political party will further, shrink the democratic space and limit the function of the party to just only hoping on the National Assembly. There are certain other provisions that the National Assembly have taken, like the 21 days notice after your membership has been sent to INEC, that you can no longer move. That undermines, is a direct confrontation to the provision of the Constitution.
Why this
yes, it is clear in Section 40 of the Constitution. It says you are entitled to move freely and associate with whoever person you want.
Yeah, but free doesn't mean that there won't be guidelines.
No, there's no guidelines in these that can undermine the provision of the Constitution.
How does it undermine?
No, you
can move, but
you are saying that within 21 days, that Section 40 has been suspended.
So are you saying they should remove that and say, okay, move anytime you want?
No. What you look, where our problem lies is not the freedom of Nigerian citizens who are willing to be members of political parties. No, that's not our problem. Our problems are people who have taken mandate of parties and moving to other parties without the respect to the party upon which they were elected. That's why the problem. They're not willing to touch that. So, whatever the National Assembly is doing is the application of the tyranny of majority, in the sense that, yes, we have the numbers to pass some of these laws. We're going to parties to try to protect our parties and also shrink the opportunities that are available to the opposition parties. This is not right.
But then, there's also an ill that some people are happy with, that law is there to address, because if you're going to be in a political party, don't stay there and then if it doesn't favor you here, you jump to the next one.
Let's leave our assumptions aside. Let's leave our feelings aside.
No, but that has happened before.
For citizens of this federal republic, the Constitution
why
is
were
very
people
clear.
arguing with former Senate presidents? After contesting for president, then you come back to Senate.
No, you need to read it. You need to read the Constitution, the Section 40. Our democracy and our freedom, the movement, this expression, and the association is built on one cardinal principles of the Constitution, that you not restrict the power of the people to associate.
No,
so
they didn't say don't associate.
No, that's what he's saying. That from 21 days,
no,
that is closed.
Yeah, from 21 days.
You can't close it.
You can't leave it indefinitely and say you can move on the day of election.
Please, you can ask any lawyer. I'm not saying moving on even on the day of election. The elections conducted
so
all over the world.
What would you rather have?
What we should have is to have a transparent electoral process.
Specifically
by making...
Particularly on this clause.
On this clause, I think this clause is unnecessary. I think it's very unnecessary. That's the truth. The 21 days notice. They did it last time. People went to court threw it out. I heard Justice Salami's opinion, but this is an opinion of a partisan person. I believe that because I'm telling you this. These are his views. He has been committees for under Malami and all that. You know, my view.
Does that take away
you can ask a lot of lawyers. See, the constitutional definition of freedom of association and freedom to participate and freely participate with other persons is very clear that you shall belong to a trade union, a political party, or an association that protects your interest. That's what the Constitution says. You can't suspend that by through the Electoral Act. The Constitution, anywhere that any law exists and it contradicts the provisions of the Constitution, that law is void and void ammunition.
For instance, what you're saying, if you're to practicalize it, because the challenge that some companies have is that if you're asking that should be removed, INEC themselves say, look, this is going to give us a headache. Because in terms of administration, it's just that when a law says, if you have to talk to this political party, you must talk to all political parties. But when it comes to practicalizing it, how many parties do we have?
Well, we should have, with the NDC should be 21 by now.
So you can't factor 21 parties when people are doing, for instance, debates, you're doing organizing. See, these things are impossible.
They are not as difficult as you are looking at it. As long as you do not over-regulate the process.
Think it will fund
you are forgetting one thing, that INEC is a registrar and a regulator of political parties. The National Assembly cannot over-regulate and should not over-regulate because there are buffers and check and balances that have been established by the Constitution.
So it's wrong for them to say, look, for our own convenience so that we can administer properly, if you want to move, no problem. But within this time, don't move so we cannot.
No, I'm telling you that you are undermining the provision that the Constitution has. Look, the responsibility of political party, it has been stated in the Constitution that the political party will sponsor a candidate. And the two is that a person willing to contest will become a member of a political party. So whatever internal things you need to have, whether it's direct, consensus or indirect, these are what the national body of the party will sit down then take a decision upon it. If you take away all this function, the parties will no longer have the authority to take certain
Even though that law doesn't say you don't have to be a member. You're already a member of a political party. It's only if you want to move from one political party to another.
Look, we have a problem in section 109, section 1G, section 109, section 2G. That problem is there, and they are not curing it. Look at when they should be able to cure that problem so that we can have a stable political party management process. Those who are elected will stay behind and then promote the manifestos and the programs
of the law say something about that. If you are elected in a party, you can't move with the mandate of that party. I thought the law
also says something on that. So, you know, one thing with the National Assembly, they make a law and then make another, a provision.
No, but there's a law on that already.
But it is weakened by section 109, section 2G that says that when you move, it is the speaker or the Senate president that will declare your seat vacant.
But there are two different things. There's a law, but you say it's weakened. Not that there isn't any law.
No, there's a law that cannot be, that you cannot execute because the Senate president will not declare the seat vacant if the movement is tailored towards the interest of his party.
But of course, they can challenge it in court if they feel that this was wrongly done.
You challenge a law if there's something that is done. And look, how long does our court take to resolve some of these issues? My brother, you need to just listen.
I don't ask a question. And also, let's see. Ayo, go ahead, please.
I will leave the legalists to the two of you and focus on just one or two issues. You know, I have been concerned, and I think a good number of Nigerians and even party members will be concerned that a particular provision of the Electoral Act is as troubling as it is, the electronic register. It is not a new thing in the law, but now that the law seems to be making it mandatory, it seems that some parties are jittery. Why do you think that is?
I don't think the parties are jittery. I think the problem is the timeline. Look at the APC has been preparing for this thing for over
a year. Doesn't that also mean,
my
apologies, doesn't that also mean, just 1 second, doesn't that also mean that the parties have been operating the Electoral Act in breach if the provision had been in the law and they didn't do anything about it until now that it's mandatory?
You need to understand that all parties have party registered. It might be in manual form, you know, just like you used to have, you know, when you want to vote, you have to go, your name will be checked on the voter register, and then you go to vote before. So all parties have register. What they are saying is not electronic register that the Constitution is, the new Electoral Act is digital register. So you can have a manual register and tell your typist to put it into Microsoft Word and then submit. But when you are having online registration, it's a process that you register, and then at the end of the day, this digital platform can help you to collect the numbers of the members you have, and then probably every partition where they come from and where their polling unit is. So it makes it easier. But when you want to prepare an electoral process, one, you cannot strangulate the commission. One, you remove the timeline for funding of for releasing funds to INEC by 12 months to 6 months. That will affect the logistical planning and distribution of material and reverse logistics operations of the Independent Electoral Commission, which will further probably undermine the conduct of our elections. And two, you will not just wake up, decide that, this registrar must be submitted within so time, and you pass the law at the tail end to the time of the submission. Look at when the law was signed. They had all the time. They decided
I do understand the point that you're making, and I think a good number of Nigerians do understand and appreciate it. But one thing that I think it will also be good for you to consider is we as a people need that discipline. We haven't had it for a while. We complain that things aren't going well, but when it comes to our own path, we give excuses. The law had been there all the while. We've been talking about BVN, about NIN for so many, for such a long time. Is it a brainer? I mean, a good number of people would think it's a no-brainer that a serious organization like a political party vying for the highest offices in the land would take the issue of their membership data seriously by doing the needful, moving with the times, as we say. Don't you think so?
You know, I belong to Labour Party, and I know we're already doing that. But because the level where I come from, with the advocacy I've done over the years, I don't speak because I have a strength to do something and then ignore how it affects others. What we do is to speak and look at the laws and look at the intentions behind the rush signing of the Electoral Act at the tail end to the period by which our registers are supposed to be submitted. We don't have an issue. I don't think maybe people are asking, look, digitalization of membership register is a good thing. You can always have access to it. But there has to be proper timeline to this process so that you can give other political parties a level playing field to participate in the process that will not choke them. We have a system in place, and this system is driven by a constitution. You don't forget that even the regulation and guidelines made by INEC is a subsidiary legislation, and you cannot just continue to overregulate the commission, overregulate the internal working processes of the political
parties. The subsidiary regulations that you talked about have the backing of the power of the law. But help us understand, maybe people need to understand why you think that this so-called disenfranchisement, this so-called unfair advantage that the APC has the chance or the propensity to affect the chances of other political parties, simply because, as you say, and a good number of political parties in opposition have said, APC has given itself an unfair advantage. How does it affect the chances of other political parties?
See, there are parties that are organized, there are parties that are like brides, you know, people want to join them. At the tail end, maybe 2 days to election, 5 days to election. What APC has done, APC know what they've done. Yes, they've been investing people for a lot of persons from the opposition camp, but they know the time people get to invest from them is the time where their party comes to a point where the internal working process is not free, is not transparent, and is not accommodating of every members of the party. Today you have a convention that will be happening with the APC, but you have people who have bought forms and are not allowed to participate. So these are the kind of things that leads to people, members. If a member is disenfranchised, that's why the constitution was very clear. If a member is disenfranchised, if a member does not enjoy the protection of his right and interest, as established by Section 40 of the Constitution, and you say no, within 21 days you have to live and die with us, or you can't go and you can't have any other decision to be part of a political party, it undermines the provision of that Constitution. And there's no law, as far as we have our grand norm today, that is superior to the Constitution. So whatever we are doing is just all these things that, hey, we have the tyrant, we have the majority. So we will use the majority in a tyrannical manner to be able to make laws and make sure that we do self-protection. Self-protection that is not in the collective interest of the Nigerian people does not go well to the entrenchment of democratic values that will help to promote the collective interest of our people.
One more thing before we go. Were you argued about that 21 days so that people don't move from one party to the other because Labour Party is expecting Peter Obi to join them if he doesn't get the ticket from the ADC?
No, that is not true. Peter Obi has gone. He's in ADC, and he has said it, yes.
Of course he can come back.
No, he has made up his mind. For me, I've been you need to get it clear. I've been a Labour Party member for a very long time, even before Peter Obi joined. Today we have a platform, we have a governor that you don't, look, I watch TV every day, I see adverts of governors promoting what they have done. In Abia, nobody promotes what they have done. But people promote it online, individuals. So if you are working and you have a prototype for work, you don't have to go around paying all these sort of things online and everywhere. So for me, where I am...
You say that those promotions online are not paid.
No, they are not paid. I'm telling you,
how do we know
it's free promotion because people are excited by the free work, by the good work that is done.
This is politics. This is this kind. Anything can happen. Peter Obi can come back to Labour Party tomorrow.
Peter Obi has made up his mind. He has made public statements.
It's politics. That's how people play politics. They move today, they move back tomorrow. So we expect anything.
No. I've been a party man for a long time.
So you don't think he's going to come back?
You see how difficult it is for me to join parties. I don't really like it. I think that if you belong to a party, you will do everything possible to try to make sure that those foundations that will make a party successful.
Who is to say that even the acting national chairman of the party won't even join another party, of Labour Party?
I can't be. What I'm saying that we're all here.
This is
in Labour
politics.
Party today. Well, it's not.
You don't rule out anything.
I think people misunderstand the definition of politics. It's about policy. It's about governance. It's about doing things that are right for the people.
Okay, that's another conversation entirely. If they're misunderstanding, maybe I'll ask people if they're actually misunderstanding.
No, they do.
Peter Ojonogo, former chairman, IPAC, a member of Labour Party, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.